For this I Will Be Okay Thursday, I present to you a new series that I'm starting called I Will Always Love You. Now, this series was inspired by me asking myself a question in my head after noticing a lot of people online proclaiming themselves to be relationship experts and relationship coaches. And I just really thought to myself, well, what makes you a relationship expert? I would imagine that a relationship expert would be somebody who is actually in a working, functional, healthy, loving relationship. And I've been very lucky to have found myself surrounded by really beautiful couples. And I thought to myself, wait, I think it would be really helpful for other people to observe these amazing couples I've had the pleasure of knowing and loving and meeting and being in deep friendship with, and asking them about relationship insight. So as a special for Valentine's Day, I'm happy to release this series in the timely manner that it is being released. So I introduce to you my sister, Brigitte, and her fiance, Chris, and one of my very good friends, Veronica, and her boyfriend, Derek. Can you tell me how you guys first met? Was it love at first sight? Did it take some time? Did you start dating right away?
Yes.
Yes.
We met 2 years ago on Halloween night.
Probably first met at the skate park just around our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like 16.
Yeah, when we were 16. Because I was a skater boy. She said, "See you later, boy." No, she didn't say. But yeah.
Kind of.
It was a very fun night for me. Derek had just gotten off of work, and we met at Harvey's, a bar in Pilsen, through a mutual friend. I don't tend to refer to love at first sight, but I personally have always been able to spot someone that I'm drawn to across the room throughout my life, and Derek was definitely one of those people.
We just knew each other as friends, would see each other at shows, concerts, here and there.
Took time.
Took time.
Yeah, we were friends for a while,
Yeah.
I think, and then, how old was it? Was it 2017?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2017, we ran into each other at Riot Fest, and then we started talking and found out that we were both now single.
Because every other time we were in relationships with
Yeah.
other people.
So how many years between 16 and what age?
27.
27.
So it took 9 years.
Yeah. About 9 years.
And I think I had built the courage to make the move, because in the past I guess I had beaten myself up about not taking the opportunity and just waiting for a man to approach me, and so I built the courage to do it. We did start dating.
She asked who that deliciousness was.
I knew he was gonna say that. I was hoping I forgot to tell him not to do that. It was Halloween night, and I was dressed up, and it was fun. We had a few drinks, and I felt super confident. And yeah, that's the exact word I use to refer to him. I had been single for a long time in my life, and so had Derek. So I know personally I've dated a lot, and we did start dating almost immediately, but it just felt so comfortable. Our first date, we hung out, we went to brunch, and I was working in the hospitality industry, so one of my, I guess, hobbies was just to try food and experience dining, and so that was something that he enjoyed, and it was a really great time. We talked about food, and then we went to Cindy's rooftop, which was closed, for an event, and they have a game room, so we spent hours together, and that I feel is so hard to find when you're dating, and you almost kind of feel awkward, but it was never awkward. There was always deeper conversations between us we got to know each other pretty quickly, got comfortable with each other pretty quickly. So it almost kind of happened naturally. And I just know that dating so much and going on different dates, for me, that wasn't an easy thing. I'm very, very sensitive to people and their energy, so when I met him, like that was one thing that I felt good about.
How did you know that this was someone you wanted to be with long term? You wanna go first?
What? You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
I knew because it just felt like I could be completely 100% myself around him. I didn't have to try to be anything I wasn't, or felt the need to do like anything I didn't want to do. So that, I think that was the main thing.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say the same. Like, I didn't have to like fake what I listened to or fake about like, hey, sometimes I like to play video games, or I like to just hang out with my friends. Like, I didn't have to fake out to like who I am. Just, you're more understanding and empathetic than most of the other people, so I felt that.
When we were on that first date, we spent probably 6 hours just sitting and talking. Didn't pay any mind to anything or anybody that was around us, and it just felt so natural. And at one point in the conversation, we had gotten onto the subject of spirituality somehow. And we're both very spiritual, but in very different ways. And that's not something that I've ever found in anybody else. I was also single for a very long time. I just instinctively knew what I was looking for. And that was something that over my 6-7 years of being single, I never found. But when we spoke, we just clicked, and then that conversation brought a different aspect and a different level to things. It was something that I was able to resonate with. It was something that I guess just made me feel very comfortable.
I remember after that date, and again, I usually, like, you know, when you're on first dates, you're like, okay, you know, maybe. But it was something about like just getting lost and not worrying, like not even realizing that you had spent the whole day with someone, getting to know them on a deeper level. And I remember kind of like when he dropped me off, like I just felt really excited about, you know, this relationship or where this would go. Over time too, like, yes, the spirituality was a huge component for me, because it's very hard to find a man, you know, to be okay with how deep you are in, and knowing myself and how deep I'm in, and who's comfortable with that, who can listen to you and follow as well as respect, even though they're committed to their own spiritual path as well. And we've never had any issues about like, okay, well, you think this, like he's looked at me sometimes where it's like, okay, like he might not fully understand that, but he would always respect that. And that to me is so important, because I feel that we both, prior to meeting each other, were on paths of self-discovery in different ways. And you get to a point where you're like, I'm so committed to me and to me first, and if I find someone who resonates with that type of energy, that they are committed to themselves, then it's not a partnership founded on like, you know, you're dependent on your partner. It's more of like you cultivate your partner, you contribute to your partner's path, but you ultimately know yours first. He was the kind of partner that listened to me, that was very attentive to me, and for, you know, the majority of my life I had the complete opposite. So it was kind of like, you know, I was not used to that at first, but it was so refreshing after I had prayed for that. Like I got into a point where like I am done with attracting potential partners that would not even appreciate me as a person, let alone a woman, you know. So I think that it definitely it's founded on that, the spirituality, the partnership.
So what would you say are the most important elements of a functioning, healthy, loving relationship?
Communication.
Communication.
Definitely number one.
Yeah, not just communicating like what you're doing, or like, hey, I'm going here with my friends. Not even just that, communicating also your feelings about things.
Yeah.
You know, when something...
Don't keep everything bottled up inside if something's
Right.
bothering you.
Yeah, being open about things that bother you or certain views you have, because I think that also leads to the next one, which is like creating intimacy together, you know, really getting to know the person deep down. And
Acceptance of the other person. Like, I mean, that could kind of go with communication, because like once you communicate with someone, you find out what their views are and like how you can relate to them as well, and it's like you're gonna accept them kind of like no matter what, because you love them so much.
People don't talk about how, like, yes, like open communication with your partner is so crucial, but then you also learn that like maybe sometimes I'm not communicating myself in the best way possible, and then it kind of leads into being open to growth, because your partner's gonna teach you things about yourself that you didn't even know, you know, were kind of like your flaws, and not necessarily like your flaws, but just things that you could work on. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, really is good for both of us, that we're open to that, and we're not like insecure about like, well, I mean, there's times that Derek tells me like, okay, you know, you could really work on this, and you know, it really offends me, but at the same time, like, you know, as an adult, you're like, I don't want to like limit myself to not being a better person. You know, it's not like you have to take that type of constructive criticism from your partner, not just for, you know, your relationship's sake, but even for your own sake, to grow as a person. And then the last thing I would say is like fun. We have a lot of fun. Like we do find ways to like entertain us. Like we enjoy similar things a lot. You know, even like being stuck at home with Frankie, like that's one thing that we like really enjoy like doing together. Going to restaurants, well, obviously now we can't do that as much, but the traveling, I used to not like to travel, but there's something about traveling with Derek that is so much more fun. And a lot has to do with like the food that we experience.
I thought that we weren't gonna last after like a month or two when we went to New York. That was the first place we ever went together. And she mentioned something about like, oh, I don't enjoy traveling, and I was like, oh, this isn't gonna work. Just because that's what a big part of my life is, and
I think
I'm very happy that now she enjoys traveling.
Yeah, I think the reason I struggled with traveling was because I'm empathic, and especially New York, like by the third day I couldn't move, and I had to communicate that to him. He wanted to keep going, and we were from subway to subway we walked a lot, we went to so many restaurants, and by like the end of the day I was like, I can't move, and this is like I'm enjoying myself, but this is also a part of me that I just need to kind of be alone for like an hour. But over time, like it's gotten better. I think I've learned that there's only certain people like I could really truly enjoy myself when I'm traveling with, because like energy to me is very important.
Do you fight? And if so, how do you find a solution together?
We don't fight.
We don't fight at all.
Don't fight at all.
Yes.
We fight a lot.
We do fight, but one thing that we do, and this goes back to our last answer about communication, is, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say we never go to bed upset. Like, that's a great quote, but that's not real life.
Yeah.
One thing that we do though is we always make sure to connect at least within 24 hours.
We don't fight because we communicate about everything, so it never leads to an argument because we immediately say something about it and talk about what's bothering us. So I think that's
just don't
big.
Bottle up your emotions. Which took me a while, because I would always just used to bottle up my emotions, just not talk.
And maybe we're not ready to talk about things yet, but we attempt to have that conversation, and we've learned how to say, look, this is something I'm still thinking about, and this is something that I still need to process. But we never let things just sit under the surface to build resentment, because that's what will ruin any relationship, a romantic one or not, a friendship, a business partnership, anything. It's, you got to deal with the hard conversations.
I feel that the most difficult fights that we've had are also like learning moments, because sometimes you've been, especially when you're single for so long, you're stuck in your ways. You haven't experienced that kind of anger with a partner in so long that when you do and you truly feel the passion like that you feel for this person, you learn things about yourself that you need to also learn to heal, to grow, to develop, and sometimes it's not an easy thing to do. So for example, if your partner is telling you, is communicating to you that they need space, that they need time, and you are so afraid of losing them, that the only thing that you can really do to help the situation is just respect that, which can be hard. So it really is pushing yourself to grow as much as possible, and like being open to that.
If you could say something to your single self now, after what you've learned through this relationship, what would you say to that person?
Learn to be more accepting and don't be judgmental towards someone because you don't know what they've been through.
I would say, like, as far as when I was single and like in relationships or in and out of relationships, I would say the main thing I would tell myself is not to settle or to take any crap from any man. Because I mean, eventually you will find a person that will love you completely and also treat you very well. So I think that's definitely it.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Like, good job.
No, I think that the reason why we have a successful relationship, and the reason why I'm happy, and the reason why I'm able to give Veronica a full version of me, is because I allowed myself to grow when I was single, and to deal with whatever it was, loneliness at the time, over being comfortable, so that I could find the right person. And it, you know what I mean, things like this take time, and so good job for allowing me to do that.
So I would also agree too. I would say thank you for staying true and being committed to your personal healing and your own personal development. Despite, like, you know, there's many times, especially as a woman, you get these kind of judgments, or you get that energy like, oh, you probably really want a boyfriend. And I never, even though I always kind of sensed that judgment, I never felt the need to explain myself. I never felt the need to even prove to them that I didn't. I was still just focused on what was going on within my soul, and it really didn't have to do with, you know, a partnership. For me, it was just really self-discovery in a very spiritual way. And it looked messy to other people, but it didn't matter. I was committed to that, and as a result, like, I feel that, you know, I've kind of became the kind of woman that is a good partner to someone, a good life partner. And I think before I was so stuck in my own healing that I was being pulled to other people that had similar healing to mine. And it wasn't until like that I realized that, like, I was more self-assured that I was ready for a relationship like Derek. I don't think I would have appreciated someone like him in the past, you know, because sometimes you don't even realize that you don't want to be in a relationship, and that's really why you don't, like, why it's not happening. And that's what it was for me. So I'm very grateful that I was committed to my work, to my soul work.
Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Wild Owl Psyche. Special thank you to Bridget, Chris, Derek, and Veronica, and their adorable animals who were able to join in on filming and make every shot cuter than it already was.